did the JDL, the Jewish Defense League, have anything to do with the death of 2Pac Shakur? We do know that they tried to extort him for money, according to the FBI files. But did they kill him? Let's get into some of the straight game.
Yeah. Blackjack. Life is like the game of cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Yeah. Blackjack. To play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Also, hit the bell notification right below this video if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop a video of some of this straight game. And tell a friend. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so yourself. I'm going to get right into it. Funny thing happened the other day. One of my subscribers asked me a question in the comments. And he said, do you think that the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, had something to do with the murder of 2Pac Shakur? And I responded in one word, no. And so you got to be very careful about, you know, the information that you take in regards to a lot of situations involving 2Pac, right? And, you know, you had, you know, various conspiracy theories. 2Pac's still alive. I'm still waiting for the picture of him and the brother Mutulu Shakur, who was just granted parole from after doing 30 some odd years in prison, if 2Pac is still alive. But more importantly, you know, you had the other conspiracy theories about who killed 2Pac. They said the FBI, the CIA, you know, and so on and so forth, right? But the question about the ADL was kind of hilarious, if you will, because the ADL is the Anti-Defamation League, another Jewish organization, but a different Jewish organization. And what the brother was actually referring to basically was the FBI files that were released shortly after 2Pac's death in regards to an investigation, or should I say a file that they were keeping on 2Pac, if you will. And I would think overall, basically his affiliation and relationship with Death Row, as we found out later that one of the security guards, Kevin Hackey, was actually working with the FBI in their investigation of Death Row for money laundering and drug trafficking and so on and so forth. I really don't know the outcome of that situation. But the question from the brother, it came up. I was like, what? But what he was basically referring to was the JDL, and that is the organization that was known as the Jewish Defense League. And 2Pac was and the question, the reason why he asked the question was because of 2Pac had received death threats. I don't know if it was from the JDL, but from what the FBI had said in the paperwork that they released, basically is that the JDL, which is the Jewish Defense League, an organization that was considered a terrorist organization by the FBI in the United States, basically they would make threats to various artists, and 2Pac wasn't the only one. Eazy-E was another artist that they had threatened. They would make threats and then offer up themselves as security, right? And so that was the scheme, to be able to actually make money from these various artists in the guise of them protecting the artists from the death threats that were made essentially by them or some of their associates, right? And so when you deal with the facts of the matter, it's easily, you know, you can see how easily, you know, it can get confused with the ADL from the JDL, right? But what's interesting about that is, you know, in all of the situations that dealing with like Kyrie and Kanye West and and various other prominent African Americans, Martin Luther King, and all of the people that were considered anti-Jewish at one time, right? This was interesting because to get into the nuances of what had happened, right? Basically, shortly after Tupac died, the FBI released the file, and basically under the Freedom of Information and Privacy Act, right? And so basically what was released and what was discovered is that the report said that the group, the JDL, not the ADL, which is the Anti-Defamation League, the JDL, which is the Jewish Defense League, the report basically said they would make threats and then call the target rap star and offer protection for a fee, right? So it's basically kind of like trying to extort Tupac. Shakur, basically, we know Pac was shot in Las Vegas and so on and so forth. But basically, they wanted to get money out of Tupac, I guess, because he was the biggest star, one of the biggest rap stars. Also, Eazy-E from that perspective. And so, that was the thing that they did in the sense that they couldn't really tie the JDL to Tupac's murder. But a lot of people, based on the information, would make the assumption, and I see how they could make that assumption from that perspective. But from all intents and purposes, when the guy asked me about the ADL, I'm saying I had to make this video to say that it wasn't the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, but the JDL, an organization called the Jewish Defense League, that was basically making threats against rappers and then trying to extort them for money by then offering to protect them from that. As we know that Tupac always, was with, his own friends or guys that he would hang around, or if he wasn't, strapped himself. A lot of the times when I saw him, he was strapped himself, so he was never, lacking in that area. And I don't even think that Tupac actually knew that, that he was being extorted, or they were trying to extort him from that perspective, to my knowledge. You know what I mean? Like I said, but yeah, it's just interesting to the brother. So I make this video. No, I do not think that the ADL for a fact did not have anything to do with Tupac's death, like he asked me. Like I said, he had got it wrong. And as far as the JDL, they did try to extort Tupac. You know what I mean? That is a fact based on the FBI and the investigation that they did. But I believe they were unsuccessful in trying to extort Tupac. Tupac wasn't having it, and I don't think that he would need the JDL to protect him from anybody from that perspective. In dealing with that situation. So yeah, unfortunately, these are some of the things that happen in life. And like I said, the FBI never could make the connection basically between or the connection with the JDL in dealing with Tupac's death. So a lot of people always speculate and say, well, the FBI and, and this, that, and the other, and everybody with a conscience or two eyes, and the ability to understand and comprehend basically knows what happened to Tupac in regards to the Vegas situation and how he died. I mean, like I said, you can put how much, other stuff on it that you want to, but at the end of the day, Tupac's situation was well explained by Keefe D in his book. Like I say, I still respect the fact that Keefe D came out and said what he said. And like I said, I understand the totality of what happened and why it happened at that particular time. Do I agree with, the part that Keefe D played in it? It's not my position to have to do that. You know what I mean? Because at that time, people were dealing with what they were dealing with at that space and in that time. Do I wish Tupac was still here? Absolutely. And so, like I said, I wish nobody had to die from that situation or dealing with that situation at that particular time. But, You know, people make their choices, and we all have to live with our own choices. You know, that's a fact. So, yeah, but to the brother that asked me that question, did the ADL have something to do with Tupac's murder? No. And from what I understood and from what I read and researched, the JDL didn't have anything to do with that either. Like I said, Tupac's situation was an isolated incident that happened in Las Vegas, Nevada. And like I said, we have tape from the fight that led up to the retaliation involving the situation with 2Pac Shakur. So yeah, no. You know, and like I said, once again, to all of the people who think that Tupac is still alive, I'm still waiting for the photo of Tupac and Mutulu Shakur, because I know that Tupac would definitely want to see Mutulu now that he's home. So I would love to see that. I'm waiting for that picture for all of the people who say that Tupac's alive, because Tupac would not want to miss that moment to be able to hug Mutulu after all of these years of not going into the jail and seeing him, you know, because he never, you know, wanted to be discovered as still being alive. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.